Hello everyone and welcome back to another great super cool radio interview. I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. And before I start talking about my guests, just a quick reminder to like this video and make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you don't miss any super cool radio interviews or episodes. My guests for this interview are Nate and Aidan of Slaves to Humanity. They're described as a Sunset Grunge band, and I very much enjoy their music. In this interview, we discuss how the band came together, writing and recording the latest single, Bully, performing on No Cover and what they learned through that experience, and so much more. So let's dive into this interview. Let's go! Before we jump into the show, I want to tell you about our merch store on Threadless. Shop a wide variety of logos with multiple colors and sizes available for each design. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps us continue to make killer content like this episode. Please visit supercoolradio.threadless.com or the link in the description to shop now. Hello everyone and welcome back to another great super cool radio interview. I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I got some great guests with me at this time. They've appeared on episode 2 and 10 of the No Cover show and back in February released their latest single entitled Bully. Please welcome Slaves to Humanity.
Hey, thanks for having us.
What's up, Matt? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Hanging out with you guys. I think it's going pretty well, I think. Making up Slaves to Humanity. Joining me at this time, we have Nate on bass and Aidan, the lead vocalist.
What's up, everybody?
So before we really dive into everything, I know we got a lot of the stuff to discuss with obviously the new single Bully. But before we get to all of that, and this is probably the most challenging question I'll ask you guys. It will get easier after all this. What has been the best concert you've performed at and the best concert you've attended, in your opinion?
I think best that we performed at, and you might agree with this, would you agree it is Tony V's garage in Seattle?
I wouldn't agree that was the best.
Maybe it was just the most fun for me.
So it was a blast. I mean, we were in Seattle. There was a good crowd, and we had never been there. So no, we were in Everett actually, but we'd never been there. This was like a first.
Yeah, incredible setup.
They were super warm. Everybody was warm, like really warm and welcoming, and yeah, the setup was incredible. But I gotta say, I enjoyed our House of Blues show probably the most.
Oh, that one was really fun too. Yeah.
It was, we were all kind of nervous, and I feel that we reflect that nervousness when we look back on it. But to be completely frank, it was a really fun, really just energetic and action-packed show, and that's been honestly my favorite one so far.
Very good, very good. Both shows sound like they were a really great time. So for you guys, so going to a concert that you did not perform at, what was your favorites?
Nate, you want to take the first one on here?
Yeah, I'll think so. I don't have a lot to choose from because I haven't gone to a whole lot of concerts in my life. Surprisingly, absolutely shocking. I'm in a rock band and I've only been to a handful of concerts. But I think my favorite concert that I've been to, I went with my buddies to Bastille just last year, and I didn't know a ton of their stuff. My friends were definitely the bigger fans, but going to the show just blew me away. Their performance was incredible. The effects that they used on stage tied in really, really well. So it was all around such a impressive production that I couldn't help but just dance and be involved in it. So that was the most fun personally for me.
Very nice.
I gotta say, I've also not been. I think out of the band, Nate and I are the two that have been to the least amount of shows in general, because like Pierce and Shane go to shows like every other weekend almost. But I think out of the handful of like legendary bands I've seen, I think the best concert was Korn. Even at all, not like I can respect the craft and I can respect those guys because they're just legendary, but I don't like the music. And weird being at their show, being so into the show. Their show was phenomenal. It was like one of the best ever seen. Well, it was probably the best show I've ever seen ever. They put on a really good performance.
Oh, very, very nice. I've seen Korn like 7 years ago, and they deliver an amazing show. I was kind of worried because it was like a few years after the dubstep album, so I was kind of worried that was the kind of version of Korn I was going to get. But they busted out a lot of their classic songs. It sounded amazing. So I was pleasantly surprised and very happy with their performance.
Yeah, they're incredible. I was really impressed with how they did on stage too.
For sure. So for you guys, how did, like, before Slaves to Humanity, like, how did you guys get started as musicians?
Nate?
Well, I got started.
Or do you want to go?
Yeah, I can jump on this. I didn't have a extremely extensive music background. My family doesn't, or my parents didn't play instruments growing up, but their 3 children oddly did. So my sister was really into piano. My brother was really into guitar. Through junior high, and well, actually 5th through 8th grade, I played the trumpet for a long time. And then I got really into like alternative music and new wave kind of stuff, which is all very bass heavy. So I started playing the bass, not in the least too, because my brother was playing guitar. So I started on that in, I want to say 2017, and played it pretty much from the end of my sophomore year of high school into my senior year. And when I joined this band, I'd only been playing for about 6 months. So the majority of my bass playing experience in the last 5-6 years or so has been with this band.
Right. So Slaves to Humanity, that was your
family. Sorry. We've got a bit of a delay.
Yeah, there seems to be a slight issue with the connection and stuff, but I think we should be okay. But no, I was gonna say that Nate, this is your first band that you joined.
Yeah.
Very nice. Sorry, Aidan, you go ahead. Sorry for the delay and I don't know whatever kind of weirdness is going on.
I want to say it's on my side just because my computer is like being used up. All my power and stuff is being used up by render. But Nate, you guys could have been like the Partridge Family if you had the bus idea before the band. You could have hit the road and just.
We just need a drummer. My dad almost played the drums too.
Your dad would be a great drummer. No, for me it was. My mom had. My grandmother was a singer. About that, I was into that. And I started getting really into Michael Jackson and started singing at a very young age, at around like 6 or 7. Out singing, and was a guitar, and he kept pushing me to play. And so I played guitar. Actually, I did. It was my favorite thing ever. And actually, I gotta say, to this day, I think my guitar is just my all-time favorite form of playing music or writing music, because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel a connection with the guitar. But after a while, I decided I wanted to join bands, and there were hundreds of guitar players, all of them better than me, and 0 singers. So I figured I might as well pick that up because nobody can find a singer, and I can kind of sing. So, and that's how it's been since then.
Right on. Right. So, were you in previous bands before this, or was it again Slaves to Humanity your first band?
I was in 2 bands before this. Yeah. One of them was called Bad Habit, and we were just like a fun cover band. And then the other one, I don't think had a name, but we were just playing around and doing our thing.
No, I got you. Very, very cool. Very good. It's interesting. Usually, if someone like sticks with it, likes an instrument, they usually try to stick with that. But with you, you had to, switch to lead vocalist because you saw other guitarists who were better than you, and the singer was like the opening, the spot that was needed the most.
Yeah, and so if I continue down guitar, the odds of a band that I want to play with needing my guitar skills are not singing. Like there's so many guitar players out in Southern California. There's so many guitar players in the world. It's not it's a very competitive thing when it comes to there. Like you got everybody, every band needs a singer, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll learn how to do that.
No, right on. I got you guys. So now, like, going to the formation of Slaves to Humanity. How did the band come together, and how did you come up with the name?
So the band came together actually before anybody but me was in it. I was in a previous lineup of the band, and they had picked the name just randomly. Just to get a name. I mean, that was it. We had just picked a name to get a name so that we could play shows with under a name, and we thought that was a cool name, and so it's just been how it happened. And then that band split up, and everybody else kind of fell in line, and we met everybody online, and so I needed players for a show that we were about to do at the Whiskey, and so I went online and I looked around and I found these guys who are incredible and who I've been with for 4 years and who are every part of the band that every bit as a part of the band as I ever was, and the name just to never change the name. We wanted to keep it because it was simpler, we had already booked like together, and so we kept the name and we started running our branding around the name.
Right, I gotcha. So Nate, were you in the previous lineup, or did you join the band later?
No, I joined later. So Shane, our drummer, and I were the first to join with Aidan, and then our lead guitarist Pierce came on through a connection with Shane. But we all pretty much were together within a week or so of Aidan looking for new bandmates.
Right on.
Yeah, a week or two.
It's really cool. And so you guys said you guys met online, obviously you guys grew up in the same kind of region, correct?
Yeah, we're all from Orange County, different corners of it.
I'm sure there's been plenty of times where one of us have been in the same place as the other whilst we were growing up and we never noticed. Orange County is not all as big as everybody thinks it is.
But especially not compared to LA.
Yeah.
That is true, yeah. So that's interesting. So you guys kind of grew up in the same region, but you guys didn't really actually meet until this band, until you started putting together this band. No,
we and literally it was online. It wasn't even like we were all meeting at school or at line, and we became, a band.
Yeah, it was crazy how fast we just gelled. Like, we knew that it was a good combination when not only did we, enjoy playing together, but we also just enjoyed messing around and joking. And, we all knew how to make each other laugh, which was and is, I think, one of the most important parts to being in a band is, you have to actually enjoy being around each other first and foremost.
Oh yeah, definitely. You have to have the chemistry, to on stage, but also off the stage, because it's hard to kind of do the band as we were talking about with trying to schedule and do all that stuff. And since you guys are doing a lot of the stuff you guys self, that it's hard to do all that and have tension within the band.
Right.
Almost not possible.
For sure. Yeah. And, some bands do survive if they're making like tons of money. They'll stand, they'll like kind of stick with each other. But like with a lot of the stuff, like especially with you guys, it's hard to progress a band, especially starting off, so young and like not gelling or working well with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I'd compare.
Really like
Sorry. I would compare our relationship honestly most to siblings, like siblings that get along, because we see each other so much throughout the week. Honestly, I see my bandmates more than I see my own siblings. My sister's moved out, so it's really is like a family. Like there's just an unspoken bond that it's like we have each other's backs. We look out for the best of each other. And just because we see each other so many days, like it doesn't mean that everything's always perfect, but it means that because we are family, we will always move on and we will always love each other in the end. And really we're like a family that does get along most of the time. And it's been great because, I've always preferred smaller friend groups in my life. Like I have a few friends from when I was younger and a few friends from high school, and that's kind of it. So it's been great to be in a band where you also are adopting friends, in doing it. So it's been a great experience.
Yeah, I could imagine it being extremely difficult to have to be in a band with people who you despise.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it would be any fun either. Like to try to do that and deal with all the stuff behind the scenes doesn't sound like any fun.
Not at all. Not at all.
So, and also for you guys, I've heard you guys describe it. You get a very unique kind of like a subgenre description for you guys, that you guys are Sunset Grunge. How would you describe Sunset Grunge?
I would say Sunset Grunge. I mean, our sound, changes as we grow, and so as we grow, it becomes less of what we thought it was going to be when we first started. That's just part of it. But I'd say Sunset Grunge is just late 80s or early 90s Sunset Strip feel that you get from bands like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. Sunset Strip being in Hollywood, right, literally right off Hollywood Boulevard, and that's where all those bands started, were the venues and the nightclubs that were made famous by the Sunset Strip, and in turn made those bands famous. And then a mix of that and the early to mid 90s kind of grunge movement out in Seattle, with Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, Nirvana, all of those Seattle grunge bands. And essentially it's a mix, not just of feel, but of emotion and of lyrics almost, like a lot of the lyrics fit into one of those two genres, and the sounds fit into those genres. And recently we've been getting poppier with it, but for the most part, it's about the same.
Yeah, I've like a very good description. It's definitely like you guys are like combining like the Seattle stuff with like as you said, like the Sunset Strip stuff, and you guys definitely got a unique sound to it. As you said, you are definitely going a little bit more with the pop direction, which is you guys are evolving and expanding as a band. So it's definitely kind of a necessary kind of inclusion with that element. But I've been really digging you guys' sound. It's a lot different than just like the normal like rock music that a lot of bands play.
Thank you. Yeah, it's we definitely see so at least with the release of this new song, ourselves going in this new direction, kind of like you were saying, adding a little bit of pop elements to it. This new song, it really is, I'd say, the greatest representation of, it's a true combination of our influences, because at the beginning the band, we had a sound that we were going for, and it was this kind of more hard rock, grungy element. And this next step as an evolution of that is it's building off of it. So it still is trying to stay true to those, rock roots that we all know and love. But it has more elements of us being ourselves and being quirky and, throwing on some really catchy hooks and melodies that, you know, we just want to try out.
Yeah, definitely. That is actually a really good segue because I'm going to be talking about the new single "Bully," which was released back in February. So before we really start diving into the writing and recording of it, what is the message in "Bully"?
Bully is a fuck you to all the pieces of shit who think it's okay to treat people like garbage. You know, that's the simplest way I can put the song. Is it's a fat middle finger to anybody who thinks it's okay to push people around.
Very, very good description. Nate, would you like to add anything to that before I talk about it more?
No, I think that pretty much hits the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's a huge statement. I really enjoy it because I really like the message in it. Like what you just said, I'm 100% for it. I'm 100% behind it, and I'm glad you guys are making this statement. I think more people definitely need to hear this song and like what it represents.
We agree. Stream it. No, I'm kidding.
That was good.
Just throws away all meaning to anything any of us just said and just goes, yeah, now you can stream it, bitch.
In fact, we'll bully you into streaming it.
Well, I'll leave a link for the Spotify link in the description as well for Bully, so people can stream it. But for you guys, how was it writing and recording Bully?
Bully happened pretty interestingly for us. So we have been working with Trev Lukather. He's the son of Steve Lukather from Toto, and as well as an incredible writer and musician on his own. And we were looking around for some people who can help us with a new sound. And Trev came along, and we did a couple songs with him, and it was phenomenal. And essentially, one night while we were recording, I think it was the first night we were recording with Trev. Him and his now wife Madison were generous enough to offer to let us stay at their house while we recorded. So one night we're all talking in the kitchen, and it's like 1 a.m. and I told him the story of my life and in the early parts of it, and really up until kind of high school I was really bullied and pushed around and beat and forced to kind of live like that, and live with people who think it's okay to hurt you and to push you and to do things like that. And that's not. And so I told him about it, and the next morning he's like, all right, we need to write a song about this. And a couple weeks later we show up in the studio and we've started putting together Bully.
Well, right on. It sounds very cool and very like organic and natural how it happened. Like obviously based off your experiences, but to be able to convey that in the song as well, I think it's really cool, and it comes off very authentic because it's actually based off something real. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love the way that we write with Trev, because we write with Trev on these songs. It's not like he's just producing. He's an integral part to this song and to the songs that come after, because Trev is just I always consider him a magical leprechaun that jumps in and helps us out when we need it, because that's what he does. And so that's and he's really, really fucking good at it, and so we writing with Trev is just this weird experience of almost like he's a fifth member that we've known for these last 4 years. And so it made it really awesome and really easy almost to do that.
I'm very happy to hear. So has he produced music before Bully for you guys? Well, okay.
Not for us, but in general, yes.
Okay. So Bully was the first song you worked with Trev on? that he
No.
produced for? Oh no, okay.
So Bully was I think the fourth song we did with Trev. The first song was a song called I guess called Deep End, and that was our first song, and we did that to kind of figure out whether or not we wanted to move forward with Trev. We were just testing the waters, and after that song, we're like, okay, yeah, this is happening, and we planned another couple weeks and did a couple more songs, and Bully came out of that.
Very cool, very cool. So, how'd you meet Trev? Like, how'd you get introduced to Trev? Or, did you find him? He find you? How did that work?
My vocal coach actually is vocal coaches for him and his wife, as well as his wife's dad's band Journey, and a bunch of other people. And so Trev was I don't remember if Trev asked him, hey, like, do you know any bands that I can produce, or if David, my coach, just thought about it. But David one day was just like, I've got this guy you need to meet. Here's his number. Call him. I'm like, okay. I took the number. I called him, and the next week, I think my drummer and I, Shane, went out to go meet him out in LA, and we had lunch. And after that, we were like, okay, let's go in the studio.
That's awesome. And like, you guys, it sounds like you guys work very well together with like the writing and the recording part and the producing part as well. And it sounds like you guys got a really good kind of handle on like what on what both sides, like, how to obviously write and record and all that stuff, but also kind of the moving into a different direction, as we kind of talked about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, like we credit, Ryan and Amir, our first producers, to kind of everything that we've been able to do. Ryan and Amir were phenomenal with just the ways that they treated us and walked us through the industry, and they kind of held our hand a little bit and guided us through the beginning of it. And as we got older, I mean, our ears change, and so we felt that the music that we were making with them was not what we wanted to do at that point anymore, and we had no clue where to go from there. And so I had talked to a bunch of people, and then right out of the blue, David, my vocal coach, was like, okay, I've got this guy here. He wants to do something. It's going to be very different, but I think you're going to like it. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
No, I got you. And definitely, and for some bands, especially, when you're just starting out, like, you kind of have to find the sound and find the direction you guys want to go in, and that does mean changing your style up. Especially as you guys were talking about with like with guitar players or just bands in general. There's so many bands out there that you kind of have to find your unique kind of sound and hook for your band. Yeah, no, that's so very true.
Yeah.
And that's just been like a lot of bands struggle with that, and we do too. We struggle all the time with it. It's a part of making music, and a part of learning how to appreciate the music that you make is learning learning to know when it's not working.
Mm-hmm. Well, and all four of us as musicians have such very different influences that it can be hard to rein us into one idea and be like, no, we're writing this kind of a song.
It's not just hard. It's like impossibly hard for us because, it's, you're talking to like the two of us are pop guys, but even then Nathan's not into pop as much as I am. He's into his New Order and Joy Division kind of shit, like he's into that older stuff. And then it just comes out of left field where Shane and Pierce are metalheads,
and Shane's very into punk too. And, I've gone down plenty of rabbit holes. I spent time listening to turn of the century folk and Irish folk and random things for months. So if you name a genre, odds are between the four of us, someone in the band listens to it and knows about it.
That's not a joke. Yes.
Yeah. So getting us all together on the same page is hard enough, but when we get on a page and we're united to a common interest, but at the same time we're each contributing personal bits of our own inspiration, that's when magic happens. Like that's when the magic chord is struck and the song, we just all sit there and go, oh, you know what, that's it, that's the song.
Yeah.
No, I got you guys. It's so cool for you guys because obviously you just described like all your different influences for all four members of the band. But even with that, you guys can come together. Like once, as you said, once you find something, you guys can work on it and produce a song. But it's just so cool. Like you guys are more on the pop, and then you have like the metalheads in the group. But then you guys can come together and make music.
Yeah, I mean, we just it's not even just that we can do it; it's just that we don't have a choice. It's like we play music that we have, and we're playing together. We love each other, and we don't want to do anything about it. So it's like, all right, let's figure this out, or let's not. But if we don't, then we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, well, we choose not to have a choice because it's what we want to do.
I'm having a really great time chatting with us, so I do appreciate it. I do got to move on because I do got to cover the No Cover show that you guys were part of. You guys were in episodes 2 and episodes 8. Or episode 10, sorry, not 8, episode 10. How was that experience performing on No Cover? No Cover was weird.
It was, it
was weird and good and crazy.
I grew up on 80s and 90s rock, like I grew up on Bush and then I grew up on Lizzie Hale, but I was like a big Guns N' Roses fan, and then I was super into Alice Cooper. And so being there was weird. And I unfortunately I have the curse of getting a little starstruck. So it's like I like the first couple hours of us being on set, I wanted to stay away from everybody, sitting in the corner, like, all right, I do not want to run into Alice Cooper and say something stupid. And evidently I did, but
you see, I have the opposite problem. I oftentimes see celebrities and people go, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so. And I go, wait, who is that?
So we were very different on the set, but it was fun. We were able to bring our producer Amir, who knew everybody basically. So he showed up, and it was like, oh my God, what's up, Gavin? And they hug, and we're like, holy crap, what are you doing here? Like, what the fuck? So that made it easier, I think, for us. Mm-hmm. But the performance was awesome, and it was great to hear what those idols of ours thought of us, and the little like conversations I got to have. Like I got to have a really in-depth conversation with Gavin after we filmed for the first episode, just about lyrics. He didn't know how old I was, and so when we played and they were giving us feedback, I think he said something along the lines of like these lyrics feel like they were written by like a teenager or something like that. I don't know. And then he comes to find out that they were written by someone who at the time was 14. I was 14 when I wrote those songs, and the first thing he did when he caught me off stage was he was apologizing profusely. He's like, I am so sorry, I did not mean it. Like I didn't know how old you were. You guys are pretty good for your age. And I'm like, no, like that's what you're here to do. That's what we're here for you to do to us, like, don't apologize. That's not how these things go. Like I want to hear you talk crap on my stuff because that's going to help me make my stuff better. Mm-hmm. And he appreciated that. But it was a really good experience.
Yeah. Especially I think it even felt better to play on stage because we had just been sitting in the alleyway for like 9 hours before we came on stage.
Yeah, they had like COVID rules, and so you weren't allowed to go inside.
So we all sat in the alley together on a curb, and it was a perfect wind tunnel because it was a windy day and the wind was coming straight down the alley. So we were just sitting there just like facing the wind for hours.
Yeah, it was something. I would never want to I would what is it?
It was worth it.
It was worth it. That's what I mean. It was worth every second of whatever embarrassment we felt or whatever nervousness we had. It was worth every single second of it.
Yeah, and it was a great experience, and it ultimately set us on the path of reanalyzing our sound. And because we've always had this mentality that, like, because we love what we write, we just assume everyone will love what we write. And so it was really humbling, and also being a younger band, people had always told us, like, oh my gosh, you guys are so incredible for your age. We came in and we played with people who weren't younger bands, and just being judged on the merit of our music. People liked the music, but it was the first time I think we heard genuine criticism that wasn't just people gloating about our age. So taking those criticisms and thinking about them for a good year or two, and just sitting like, what does this mean? How are we going to elevate what we're doing? How are we going to up our game? That's really what set us on the path to reach Trev and to start this new sound. Really is birthed from those origins, really.
Yeah, definitely for you guys, and especially to as up and coming band, to have like that the constructed criticisms of really amazing musicians who've been in the music industry for many years. To have that, I think, is very valuable, because I think a lot of people don't want to face the criticism. Mm-hmm. But with you guys, I see that you guys do want to continue to improve and continue to get better as a band.
It's the only way we're going to be able to make it the way that we want to. It's the only way that we're going to be able to be where we want to be in a couple of years.
And when we had a discussion early on too, that if we ever got comfortable with ourselves or too confident in what we were doing in a given moment, we would stop trying to improve.
That is a great mindset, because once you start believing your own hype too much, then you kind of stop growing.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to save that for 20 years down the road.
It's just not worth it. Yeah, we want to say that when we can stop growing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once we hit stadium level, and we can just capitalize on everything we did when we were younger, then it's perfect.
No, definitely
ride the wave.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get to a certain level, then obviously, you've made it. You've hit that level. But for you guys, for where you guys are in your career, you definitely have to just constantly keep improving, and you guys definitely are. And that's why you took the criticism that they gave you, and that's how you've been very, very much evolving your sound, especially with the recent single "Bully."
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's it's the only way to grow.
Definitely. So for you guys, what was the biggest takeaway that you learned through No Cover?
Probably just that, just exactly what we were talking about. Stop. If we don't stop and look at the flowers every once in a while, we'll never know that a couple of them are dead, and that's the best way to put that.
That's a great way to put it. Stop and smell the roses to make sure they still. That's not
the analogy. I know Nathan's dying.
No, I love it. It's a good twist. It's almost like saying stop and smell the roses to make sure you actually can still smell them.
Yeah, I mean, it's and we want to keep that. We're trying to keep that mentality the best way we can. Is to be able to move on, become more successful, and build a bigger fan base, but still be able to kind of turn around and be like, hey, that's not working. That's not working for us. That doesn't feel right. That doesn't sound right. People are saying it's not right. We need. And I think that was the biggest thing for No Cover, is that we were able to confirm a lot of things that all of us were thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think too a big thing is, as a band, you have to be constantly listening to not just people in the industry who are telling you things, but also to your audience and to your fans. And Bully is also impacted by elements of what people have liked in our songs in the past, and that just translates to so many different areas, like playing on stage. When we make our set list of the songs we're going to play, yes, we pick songs that thematically go together and sound like they mesh well. But a big part of it too is you got to play the songs that the fans want to hear, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are paying to see us, and they're the ones who are making what we do possible. So, you know, it's not even just always about like, we're going to go play the songs that we have the most fun with, which we've been very lucky to be in a position where some of our favorite songs are the most popular songs. But just always listening is a huge takeaway that we got.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean that's actually really good, because like obviously you do have to pay attention to your audience, because without them, like they're the ones paying to see you, they're the one paying the bills, and without them, you know, a band can't go anywhere. If you don't have an audience, if you don't have people supporting you and liking your music, then you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and like, you know, Aidan and I, we're both
Exactly.
We have a lot of interests. We're gamers too, on top of, you know, many other things that we do in our free time, and there's nothing worse. You know, I think you could agree with this, Aidan. Nothing worse than a gaming company that doesn't listen to its fan base. And, you know, if that's what sets a popular game apart from a game that's just going to flop, we got to do the same thing. If we have a fan base, we always have to have an ear turned towards them.
Exactly. No, I think that's the best way to put it. Nerdiest way to put it.
100%.
Sure.
I 100% agree with that. I think that was a really great analogy. I know. But it is, especially with social media, it's so easy now to connect with people, and to for them, you can listen to what they had to say or what they like about the song, what wasn't their favorite part of the song and stuff like that. It's so easy nowadays to connect and listen to people.
Yeah. And one other thing, this is going to be a bit of a shameless plug.
Sure.
You know, of course, we love responding to people on social media and getting people commenting on our posts. But to even more try and, you know, connect with our fan base and hear what they have to say and be a part of this musical journey with them, we've just opened up a new Discord. And this Discord is, you know, it's of course free to join, just with a Discord account. And people can hop in there, they can chat with us, they can share with us, you know, what are they into, what's some of their music recommendations, what are some of their favorite instruments to play, and we just get to be, you know, a whole big STH listening family. So a little shameless plug, but anyone listening should join.
It's just a little it's a little area where everybody can come hang out and actually like we have like a place where you can share all of your gear, your musical gear. So like we've already had like people showing us all of their guitars, and it's amazing. I love it. And then we also have we've got song recommendations and what we call family photos, where they send in pictures of like them at the shows, not of them with us. It's like it's a lot of fun. I've really been excited about this for a while, and we finally have it out, and it looks amazing, and everybody's super stoked about it. So if you check the link in our bio.
Very, very cool. I'm glad you guys have that. You're really building a community in the Discord for that. I'll leave a link for that Discord in the description of the podcast as well. But no, that's so cool. I might have to. I'm on Discord, so I'm definitely gonna hop in and join there. I have my name on Discord. I went with I wanted to create the most generic name. Like I was just messing around. I was just in a small Discord with podcasting friends. So my name on there is Guy McDude. Yeah. Because I wanted to find the most generic name I could find.
I love it. Here, I'll send you the link and you can join us. Mr. Guy McDude. That's funny as fuck. Yeah, that's funny. I did a similar thing, but mine ended up being Raisin Brand, not brand. So it's not like the cereal. It's the Raisin Brand. It's the branding of the Raisin Brand. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We both found out we both liked an old person cereal. You remember that day?
I think so.
I love Raisin Bran, and you were like, I love Raisin Bran, and I was just thinking, well, I've never met anyone who says that Raisin Bran is also one of their favorite cereals.
Yeah.
At least no one under 60.
Yeah. Raisin Bran and cornflakes are my two favorite. Not like the frosted cornflakes, just normal straight
just plain ones. I'm not quite that crazy.
None of that sugar.
Yeah,
None of that sugar.
If I can't have a bunch of sugar in my cereal, I'm not. I'm not interested. But I'm glad you can do it. I can't.
That makes sense. A lot of I used to be the exact same way too.
But as kind of wrapping up this interview, I really appreciate hanging out with you guys, talking about all things slave humanity, Serial, Discord, all of that stuff. But before we go, what are the plans for the rest of 2023 for Slaves to Humanity?
Expect more releases. Expect more singles, and get ready because 2023, the end of 2023 into 2024 is going to be a lot of fun for us. That's all I I think I know.
Right on, right on. Nate, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, just hop into our Discord. You get a little bit of a sneak peek into some of the things that we're planning and get to see us behind the scenes putting things together. So yeah, if you want to be most up to date, even more sometimes than our Instagram, hop on that Discord and we'll see you there.
Right on. And again, a link for all things Slave to Humanity.
Sorry.
All good. All good. Links for all things Slaves to Humanity, including checking out Bully, plus the Discord, and their social media pages as well, will be in the description of this podcast. Guys, I had a really great time hanging out with you. Thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. For Nate and Aidan of Slaves to Humanity, I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.